humbling thing indeed to stand before you tonight, knowing full well that the Family Heritage Alliance is an organization that has had God's hand and God's favor on it since its birth, now just a little over 6 years ago. Friends, our purpose here tonight is very, very clear. We have come together to enjoy this fellowship, to financially consider partnering with the Family Heritage Alliance as we invest in the work that we believe God has called us to. For such a time as this, the FHA has been called to engage our culture for Christ through pastors, policymakers, the public. Our vision is very, very clear. We would that South Dakota be a state where God is honored, religious freedom flourishes, families thrive, and life is cherished. And so to accomplish this, we need a team. And so I want to take a moment to introduce you to several key team players who daily keep the FHA focused on her calling. They are not my leadership team, they are our leadership team. I serve at the pleasure of the Family Heritage Alliance and the FHA Action Board of Directors. These men and women pictured on the screen are people of the highest degree of integrity. They are absolutely committed to the FHA's mission and vision. And by the way, speaking of board members, will you personally join me in thanking FHA Board Chair and Pastor and State Representative Scott Craig for doing such a good job with a flair of excellence in emceeing tonight's program. Scott, wherever you are, thank you. Friends, you need to know that the FHA staff of 6 are not only my colleagues, they are my friends, and I salute them one and all. They continually go above and beyond the call of duty for their love of the mission and the purpose of the FHA. Our staff works out of offices both in Sioux Falls and here in Rapid City. In Rapid City on the corner of Jackson Boulevard and Sheridan Lake Road. We serve downstairs in this facility in Suite E for excellent. So we invite you to come see us. We are blessed with a strong East-West Advisory Council membership upon whose shoulders a significant workload is laid. Friends, we could not do what we do statewide without the dedicated hours of both our West River and East River volunteers. And to them, we say thank you, one and all. And finally, our 2016 interns. Friends, simply put, these young people make the FHA look good. Now, folks, they have shadowed both myself and Norman Woods at the Capitol during legislative session, but they lend a helping hand with the FHA throughout the entire year. This year's legislative session in Pierre at our state capitol was a busy one indeed for the FHA Action. We supported or opposed some 33 different bills and resolutions. There was a religious freedom bill, House Bill 1107, which my friends will come roaring back this next legislative session. We celebrated the passage of bills like the sex offender bill and a private school scholarship bill. During this South Dakota legislature, South Dakota became one of the most pro-life states in the country, as not 1, 2, 3, 4, but 6 different pro-life bills were passed and signed into law. Hear me clearly. For the FHA, protecting the privacy, the physical privacy of all of our public school children was of great importance. We will forever be grateful to the 77 brave, disciplined legislators who came to our side and stood with us in support of House Bill 1008. Friends, this was not just a good bill. This was a great bill which simply fell to political correctness. Tonight we are grateful. No, we are more than grateful to have in the House with us our Attorney General Marty Jackley, who we want to personally thank for standing with us on this and other family-valued bills. Ladies and gentlemen, join me in thanking our Attorney General, Marty Jackley. Tonight, as you leave this place, we want to encourage you to stop by our display at the front door on the right-hand side and pick up a copy of the 2016 Legislative Scorecard, as we allowed the votes of our legislators to score themselves on how they stand on our values, as well as other materials you may want to take home with you tonight. And so at this time tonight, I would like to invite to the stage our Youth and Young Adult Coordinator, Norman Woods. Norman has served at my side in the halls of the state capitol, now at the state legislature, for the last 5 years. For the past 2 years, Norman has joined me as a registered lobbyist with FHA Action. Ladies and gentlemen, I give you Norman Woods. Norman.
Well, hey guys, as Dale said, my name is Norman Woods, and what Dale asked me to speak on tonight is why at 21 I'm involved in politics. And the simple answer is I really think this is where I've been put. For how long? I don't know, but this is where I've been put for now. And the longer explanation of that would be this. Okay, so name the name of Christ in public. You're going to ruffle feathers. Plain and simple, you're going to make people mad. It just always happens. And the explanation for that, Brad Stein puts it this way. He goes, maybe, because after 2,000 years, he's still intimidating people. So you name the name of Christ, you're going to ruffle feathers. That's just what happens. People call you intolerant, bigot, hated. Why are you forcing your religion on us? And that last one always got to me a little bit. I knew I was doing the right thing. I knew I was standing for truth, but it's like, why do I have to force my standards on them? I was still doing it, but it felt a little weird. But I got the answer and the explanation on a Wednesday night this summer. So in 1 Timothy, Paul says that the church is the pillar and the foundation of God's truth. Okay, so what? Well, think of the architecture of the day. When he says pillar and foundation, what's he talking about? Those great big marble buildings and temples. So those great big huge marble pillars, what do? They hold up the roof of whatever building they're in. So he's saying the church is the pillars and the foundation of God's truth, which is the roof. So if the church ceases to be the pillars, the roof has nothing to stand on. God's truth has nothing to stand on in society without his people. His truth would still be true, but it wouldn't have any standing in society, and it would have nowhere to stand. So when people start yelling at me, you're forcing your religion on me. No, I'm just holding up the roof. I'm just called here to stand. Now, this doesn't give us license to be mean. We can't be a jerk about it. We're still Christians. People can be mad, but we can't intentionally make them mad. That's not what we're about. We have to have the flavor of Christ, a flair of excellence. If people could even take 10 seconds and actually get to know us, they should instantly see Christ's love. And we saw that at sessions here. If you want to know stories, come talk to us. People on the adamant other side could not believe how we could be so opposing but still somehow care about them. Because Christ's love is supposed to shine through us. Christ said, they will know you are mine by your love. So yeah, sometimes you're going to make people mad. And in those times, just remind yourself, you're not forcing anything on them. You're just holding up the roof. And if they take even 10 seconds, they should easily see the love of Christ shining through you. Thanks.
Now I have to bring that microphone down. Thank you, Norman. Friends, the FHA remains passionate about those values that we champion and cherish throughout the years across the great state of South Dakota. They are primarily the protecting of the sanctity of human life, defending natural marriage, and championing our religious liberties and freedoms. We are honored to have associate partners with these 6 nationally highly esteemed organizations. Friends, these associations with them come at no cost to the FHA, but national associations like these bring assistance to our work here in the state of South Dakota. We are braced for the future. We are in great shape as an organization and a ministry to legally, effectively, and passionately tackle these tough issues of our day. In 2017, we will continue, by God's grace and your support, to strengthen our partnering ties and relationships with churches, pastors, and other ministries across the state of South Dakota. Thus, we're asking pastors everywhere to replace the muzzle with the megaphone, to preach from their pulpits the biblical topics of life, marriage, and religious liberty, and to encourage their people to register to vote and then vote biblical values. We will add hours to our current paid part-time staff and add additional paid and volunteer staff so that we might better accommodate the growing needs of our families and friends. We will improve and enhance our data communication system in the office. This will allow us to communicate more clearly, concisely, and quickly to you, our partners across the state. With your help tonight, we will become more proactive in the recruiting, training, and support for future family-valued candidates running for every office, from the State House to the County Courthouse to the schoolhouse. We will continue to cultivate and build relationships with our national conservative personalities who have earned the right to be heard when it comes to those issues of faith, family, and freedom. We will encourage them to come to South Dakota. And friends, they have said yes, much like Rick Green. On Saturday, October 29, we will host our very first FHA Action Public Policy Summit with keynote speakers like Matt Sharp of the Alliance Defending Freedom and Claire Lopez of the Center for Security Policy. We are geared up for Election Day on Tuesday, November 8, as we encourage all eligible citizens to exercise their right and their privilege to vote. Recently, Franklin Graham shared on the steps of our state capitol where 2,500 patriots gathered on Tuesday, May 25, these words: "I'm convinced that we are facing the most important election of our lifetime, as we as God's people have a serious responsibility to pray for our country, pray about the election, and pray about how we should vote. Then we must vote. Even when the choice feels difficult, our nation is on the verge of self-inflicted moral and spiritual collapse. If we don't take a stand for God's truth, America will not survive." And because the times are what they are, we are flying into South Dakota, Family Policy Alliance's President Paul Weber, to keynote a two-city tour here in Rapid City and then in Sioux Falls, November 17 and 18. So check out the postcard found in your program tonight and make a plan to come join us here in Rapid City on November the 17th. In December, we'll be hosting our 2 legislative briefings here in Rapid City and in Sioux Falls. Then in January through March, it will be boots on the ground at our state capitol during the legislative session, lobbying for good, solid, family-valued legislation. During which time, we will host on February 7 some 125 plus pastors and ministry leaders at our annual South Dakota Ministry Leaders Capital Summit. Friends, on our watch, never let it be said that we did nothing, that we sat idly by. May we never be muzzled, may we never be silent. We believe there is always a way forward. We must engage this culture if we ever expect to change it. And as long as we can pray and act, there is hope for America. Friends, God is calling us in this room to stand up, to speak up, to never ever give up in our efforts to reclaim America once again. For we know, as we know, that we do not lose until we quit. May you know, and many of you do, that as I travel the state of South Dakota, Norman Woods serves as a chauffeur, as a driver for me. And that's on purpose, so 2 things happen. So that I can get work done traveling across the state. In the last 5 years, I've put 230,000 miles on my Chevy Impala. And now my Impala is about ready to give up, but we will not. And so we do that so I can get some work done, and we do it so that we get to our destination safely. That's why Norman drives. But recently we were crisscrossing the state, and Norman rolls down the window on the driver's side, pulls up his camera, his phone, and he takes this South Dakota photo. Now, friends, I ask you tonight, was this a sunset or was it a sunrise? And as you ponder that tonight, I ask you another question. Is there hope for our state and our nation? Do you see it sunsetting or sunrising? Your Family Heritage Alliance leadership remains ever hopeful. We are resolute, believing this could be the church's and the Christians' finest hour. This coming year could be the sunrise that we have been praying for and working so diligently toward as we stand together for faith, family, and freedom. Ladies and gentlemen, you in this room tonight, you are our heroes. Your presence here tonight means more to us, encourages us more than you will ever know. As we continue to work together, we are the people that God has called us to this task. Tonight, you are the wind beneath our wings, and I salute you.